Alright, it is 9:29 a.m. on the Wednesday, I believe. Nope. It is a Thursday, and this is the main watch list. I'm going to remove HTZZ, but it will be in the other watch list. AABB could be a continued morning panic bounce setup, and I'll try not to be so picky with the way it trades, even though it does trade with an ugly spread sometimes, with some very nasty price action. It's still something that can offer opportunity. TGGI had a very nice close at the end of the day yesterday. I wouldn't want a morning panic bounce play this unless it looks stupid clean. I would rather see it maybe do some kind of a setup, making higher lows under VWAP, but maybe something that uptrended this strongly at the end of the day isn't going to do something like that. INND could be a continuation or a morning panic bounce play. ILUS could also be a morning panic bounce play if it looks clean, but I'd rather not because it was only up in one day, so I'd rather see a continuation here, maybe a move towards the highs. Right now I'm going to focus on morning panic bounce plays, and that's what I have for right now. Alright, it is 9:41. AABB had a morning panic bounce play, and I did participate in this one, but I didn't hold it as well as I could have. My dollar risk level was pretty close to 8, but I could have traded slightly larger, but I think the main thing I could have done better was just hold longer. When I'm in the setup, I just have to take into consideration that if I'm in the setup and it's immediately not failing, it's not breaking the risk level immediately, I should probably just give it time, because looking at my previous trades, a lot of the setups that I'm in, not all of them of course, but in a lot of them, especially morning panic bounce plays that work out, like my entry is never really a price the thing comes back to for at least a very long time. Now maybe it has like a double bottom or a lower low, but it usually offers a lot of move towards the upside. Maybe this is just hindsight 2020. I just really don't like the way AABB trades, just back and forth with a very, very large spread, but it's nice to see it at 17. I was interested in it at around this level. I did see it try to hold a support level here at 16.4, but I thought this thing, being a choppy mess that it is probably not going to hold it. It's probably going to break it. It had nice red candles here, 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 and then it tries to hold here. Then it has the sketchy freaking yuppies just jumping in, market orders or whatever. Maybe all of the selling orders, the market orders just go through, and then all of the buy orders and market orders to buy just go through here, and then I guess they just break it a level lower. I have no idea. And then it started playing off of 16, and 16 is a nice level of support. If you look at it here, here, it was resistance previously. It even dipped here, it seems like. So it's definitely a level to take into consideration. So my risk level was 16, and then I eventually got in at 16.25. It's really hard to judge what the risk dollar risk level is going to be, because it does trade with such a large spread. I was in at 9.35, which was this candle right here, when it was looking like it was trying to hold the 16 level. The price action really supported it. I was at 16.25. In theory, if it breaks 16.14 and there's some slippage, I get out at 16. There's usually a wall of bidders at 16 anyway. When they're this cheap, there's usually a level of support. So 3.25, I get out at 16 if the setup fails. That's a $5 risk level. That's pretty close to my $8 risk level. Now, sure, I could have maybe traded 3,000 shares. Let's see if that would have been closer. Right, 487. And yeah, actually, I probably should have traded 3,000 shares, huh? Because it's still a round number, 3,000 shares, and that would have been closer to my $8 risk level. Alright, I'll be honest, in this case, I probably should have squeezed another 1,000 shares. I didn't think that would fit, but actually it does. Alright, I should keep that in mind, just to be extra sure with the math. Alright, that's cool. And I did sell pretty early. I mean, you can see it now at 17. I sold at 16.47, so close to 16 and a half at 9.37, which was right here, right about here was my sell, right here. I liked how it was starting to work, right? It had a nice green candle here, You know, it opened here, then it went all the way to 1669, and then it went all the way back down, and I thought, that is disgusting. That is almost like this candle right here. That is totally gross. This might just break onto the level and then start playing around and then maybe break that level even more. I probably should have held my risk level, you know, and held on the trade and not have gotten out unless it were to have broken the day low. I probably should have done that, and that would have helped me be a lot more profitable, because I'd probably still be holding the setup, and then I likely would have sold at 16.8. I don't think I would have been able to be a part of the 17 mess. Look at the crazy wick. It does trade with a bit of a spread, but that's pretty cool. In theory, a sell at 16.8 would have been wise, because that's where VWAP is. That's my goal a lot of times. 336, and I'm in at 20. What is it? 25, 325. So that would have been, you know, just a little more. That would have been like 11 bucks, but you know, it did get higher, which is great. Maybe it can make a higher low, lower low setup off of this level under VWAP, but I don't know. This thing might just lose momentum. It might lose its volatility, especially where it is on a daily chart. And I made just 4 bucks, but in theory I should have traded 3,000 shares actually. So I guess in my journal I'm gonna put, no, I didn't really trade to my risk level. I could have done 3,000 shares. If it was gonna be like an awkward number like 2,500 shares, I probably wouldn't have done that, because, you know, I want something that in theory is easier to go through. Although there is a $2,500 not dollar but share print here, I want to make it a nice round number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 shares, something that in theory, you know, can go through easily. I don't want to trade a weird amount of shares and, you know, it has trouble getting executed. In theory, you know, maybe that's not a big deal at all, but that's pretty cool. ILUS, maybe a dip under VWAP. You know, first dip under VWAP, and it can try to uptrend more, maybe. I'd rather be short IND. And TGGI keeps going. I would have liked it if it dipped under VWAP or something like that. It just keeps uptrending, so I'm just going to let that one be. I'll keep looking at these stocks, but yeah, I definitely could have done better on AABB. I could have traded a larger size, and I could have held better for sure. Okay, it is 10:03 a.m. and I was actually interested in this for like a higher low, lower low, double bottom off of this level, but it's trading with such an ugly spread. I wish it traded nicer. If it traded with like less of a spread, less jumpy, less wicky, I probably would have put in a lot more money in this stock trading it, but that's not the case here. I could have traded it a few times more yesterday as well. You know, this thing, I mean, just look at this, right? The bottom here is 1606, and then the ask is at 1640. Like, that was actually there on the level 2. And, you know, that just means that, you know, it's a little less likely that it's going to work. But, you know, it does work sometimes. And it did uptrend here. In theory now, just looking at the sell, now that it's played out, it would have been easy to sell at 17. This would have been the ask, and this would have been like luck, I think, because, you know, it only did that for a little bit. Morning panic bounce way, it can actually turn around if it holds this 16 level, but I just wish it traded nicely, you know, or at least nicer than this, but that's totally fine. And as for the other ones, this one isn't playing off of VWAP, although these are the type that can run a lot because they're just floating off of it. I just like something that trades off of VWAP, because maybe you're trying to buy and you think it's a dip and it keeps dipping. At least when it dips under VWAP, you get an idea that, you know, at least you're not too early in a potential dip buy. IND, again, I'd still rather be short, you know, a stock right here where it is now, but this one can try to uptrend. It did have a dip there. ILUS also offered one, and it is uptrending, but look at how messy this thing is, and wicky. The spread is ugly. 43, you're at 45. Is it worth it? I don't know. Maybe. I just don't like this one. That one trades weird too. This one doesn't trade with good volume. It can continue the uptrend. I'll keep watching AABB, but I probably won't trade it unless it does something super cleaner. It just looks like such a gimme that even if, you know, it doesn't work out, I just have to trade it. Alright, it is 10:41 and I just got in and out of a trade. It looks like I am trying to hold these things better, but I still need to do better because I think last week I had a lot of trades that were like a minute and 30 seconds, and this one is at least yeah, at least 3 minutes actually, not 2 minutes, and it was ILUS. So I didn't really have that much conviction in the setup like this, but it is trying to get towards the highs right here, which is 47.86 in theory, and this thing can continue up the 2 uptrend. And I was in at 10:36 right when it looked like it was trying to work, and I got in at 4:55, so that was right here, 4:55 flat, 10:36. So we had a dip under VWAP, a spike, and then, you know, a higher low, like a double top, not really too ideal, but it was a higher low, and then another move towards the highs, and then another, you know, higher low in theory, and I was in right here risking VWAP. So if it would have broken under VWAP, let's just go over. I was in at 455, and that was just 500 shares because I'm trading with that risk level in mind. 227, and then if it gets to VWAP, which, you know, would have been maybe 44.75, right, that would have been 223. Yeah, so I guess I could have traded larger, but I was thinking that it would break I guess VWAP at the time was right here at 44. I guess I could have traded larger actually. This was another one where I thought I had the risk level kind of close, but no, not really, huh? I thought I was better, but I actually did try to really, you know, trade off of a risk level. Let's just see one more time. 455, that's 227, and then if it fails, it breaks under VWAP. I guess, did I just round off to 44? 220. Yeah, okay, I did calculate VWAP wrong. It would have been 44. Maybe 44. Let's just say 445. Right, that would have been 222. Okay, that would be like $5. So that would have been 445. Cause yeah, it would have totally failed. Okay, I guess I wasn't that off. I'll just put kinda, as in was I trading close to my risk level, my dollar risk level of $8, kinda, but really should have probably have done better with that. Cause in theory, then I would have been able to have traded actually, I think 1,000 shares, because if I'm in at 445, not 445, 455, right here, 455, and then I risk VWAP, let's just say 445, that's my risk level, right, 445, okay, that would be $10, and that's closer to $8, so I could have been double my size, honestly, here too. Yeah, definitely I need to keep getting better with my math, trying to do the dollar risk level. I'm not a guy who really hates math. I've always liked math. I guess algebra 2 was kind of annoying, but, you know, like just regular math, times tables, stuff like that, percent differences, I like that kind of math. But yeah, maybe my sell was a bit premature, but I mean, if it's just gonna have a crazy spike like that, you know, I'm just gonna sell into it. But I think it's very similar to the AABB where I could have held better, but, you know, it is a bit weird looking. But anyway, I sold at 1039, and that was right here. Yep, 1039, right before the candle closed at 46.15. It was trading there at the bid, and it was holding that. Broke it a little here, but if this thing was just gradually uptrending and breaking out slowly, putting up, you know, higher lows and maybe higher highs, I probably would have been in this a lot longer. But I was totally thrown off because it did have that crazy spike. But hey, at least I was on the right excuse me, the right track. 232, 227, so what, I would have been out like a little more. Yeah. 235.47 is at the bid, and then I'm in at with $227 position, so that would have been a little more. Seems like I'm not trading with enough money, but I'm gonna stick to that $8 risk level. Maybe I should round it up to $10 so I don't screw up my math as easily. But yeah, this was an example where I probably could have done better. Yeah, I'll probably actually just put no, as in did I trade according to my dollar risk level. I should have traded 1,000 shares, and that would have made a lot more sense. Although it was a bit iffy because it is choppy. It could have just chopped back towards VWAP and just really thrown me off, but it's not as bad as AABB. I'll make an update to see what this does. It is trying to approach that level. It's pretty close now, actually. 47.86. I'll make an update. It could totally do it, and I just sold too early. That's not uncommon at all, actually. But that was the setup there. It wasn't too ideal because I would have liked it if it traded off of VWAP more, but it started to float off of it, and at least those are the ones that tend to really run towards the afternoon as well. At least more likely than the ones that hold VWAP. Alright, it is 4:59 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I had 2 trades, ILUS, AABB, and I should have been double sized on ILUS. AABB, I should have been 3,000 shares. I need to do better calculating my dollar risk level so I can trade better, and that I'm more profitable on the setups that work because I'm trading accordingly to that risk level. And then if a setup doesn't work and I have to take that $8 loss, and it'll probably be a full-sized $8 risk level loss. I probably did that one right, but if I can do the winning trades too, I can be more consistent on how profitable I can be. And yeah, maybe $8 risk level is small, but I honestly don't care, dude. Everybody's gonna start from a certain level. I don't have to make it right now. I can just take my time and just make sure it's a nice confirmed breakout on that profitly charts, and just try to take things step by step and not try to burn out either. As for ILUS, that was the setup that eventually actually failed right here. It kind of broke that level that it was trying so hard to play off of, and again, my entry was at 1036 right here. Before I did do that move, I could have sold a lot better. I could have held better, and this one did kind of hold itself eventually and downtrend later. And it did work itself forward. Maybe if I wanted to, I could have tried trading the chop, and eventually with the price action and given where it is on a daily chart, even on the 15-minute chart, it just shows that it's trying to do a breakout over the day high. And if it does that, I'll totally be interested in buying it, as well as IND. This one could actually try to break the highs as well. If you look at it here, it's struggling. It could be a short setup too, but the way it's looking now, it actually would rather be long it, and that's going to be something I'll keep watching, as well as morning panic bounce plays. Not so much with ILUS. That one doesn't really tend to be too nice, but yeah. And TGGI, this one failed, and I didn't take into consideration this dip under VWAP here because of the fact that it had a spike in the morning. So this would have been one where it would have failed, but again, I wasn't interested in it because it never just gradually uptrended throughout the entire day. It had that crazy spike in the morning. AABB was that setup where I could have sold a lot better, but I'm happy that I still had a really good entry. I just need to be a larger size, and I need to try holding it better. It did get to that VWAP goal of 16.8, and it did move above it too. This one absolutely failed. It didn't trade the volume, so I was never really that interested in trading it. So again, 2 trades, very small percent gains, but both of them had room where I could have sold better. And on both of these setups, I could have had a larger size trading off of that dollar risk level. Clearly, I have a lot of room for improvements, and I just have to keep going at it. I feel really good trying, although I didn't do it that well this time, trying to trade that dollar risk level of $8. I'm just really happy with that. It kind of makes me feel like I'm in the right path to success, but again, I just don't want to let it get to my head either, especially tomorrow being a Friday when I tend to have a red day more often than not. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just 2 trades there, and I look forward to Friday, God willing.